he is, our old friend, Ben Askren himself. How are you, Ben?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Ariel?
I'm doing great. Is there anything you want to say to me, Ben, right off the top? Let's get it out of the way. Is there anything you just want to say to me?
Your face is very punchable.
Really? Be honest, Ben. You didn't think I'd ask. You called me out on Twitter. You said, quote, do your job.
I did.
I feel like an apology is in order here. You didn't think I'd do it. Let's hear it.
No, it was, see, Twitter, you never know what the connotations are. And it was more like a joking, do your job, Helwani, kind of thing. And I knew you were going to do your job. You're one of the best in the business.
One of? Okay, go on.
I thought it was an obvious question that a bunch of people should have asked him, and you actually asked him, and he gave an answer. But, Ariel, you could have dissected his answer a little bit more, because what I saw was, on the one hand, he says, I only want a fight that will boost my legacy, okay?
Uh-huh.
And so by this point, he's made a lot of money. He's got a lot of fame. If he hasn't made enough money or had enough fame yet, he's not going to, okay? And then so on the second hand, he says, well, I would fight Ben Askren. He's definitely a top 3 welterweight in the world, but not enough people know him, which essentially means we're not going to sell enough pay-per-views. I'm not going to make enough money. But at this point in your life, are you caring about your legacy, which you just said in the last sentence, or are you caring about your pocketbook, which is what you're referencing now? And so I would have liked for you to say, well, George, which one of these is it? Is it your legacy or is it your pocketbook? Because if he says, hey, I just want to make money, I don't blame him for that. That's fine. He wants to make money. But don't say you care about your legacy and then you care about your pocketbook more later. It's one or the other. Just pick one. And frankly, I kind of went off before on UFC, and it's funny because your next guest, Demetrius Johnson, who
what was your initial reaction when you heard him talk about you?
Yeah, I thought he might play it off more. I thought, he might just say, oh, I don't really know him or whatever.
Yeah.
It was nice to hear him say the truth, because what I've heard from behind closed doors, that he does, he likes the skill set I bring. I mean, at the end of the day, in his heart, he's really a martial artist. And most martial artists appreciate what I've done in MMA. And while it may not have been the flashiest or the most creative, I brought a very unique skill set, and I executed it in a fashion that very few have done before me, and I think very few will do after me. And
so do you feel, after hearing his comments, after seeing some people weigh in on this, you clearly have some journalists on your side. Last week, Luke Thomas on the MMA beat, I had an epiphany listening to him. I mean, he laid out a scenario of you being the quote-unquote heel, going into Montreal, just selling this thing, undefeated guy, finally getting your chance. You're coming in there for that one fight to take down the legend GSP. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. It gives me goosebumps. I love these kinds of stories. Do you feel like there is some momentum to this? Like, is this actually a possibility, more so than when we talked back in November after the retirement fight?
There's absolutely momentum here, and I have been on record saying I will go to Montreal, Quebec, Canada in 2019. I will beat up GSP, and I will have somewhere around 20,000 Canadians booing me, and it will be a fantastic sight to see, Ariel.
Wait, so you actually think it will happen? You're predicting that it will happen?
Absolutely, yes.
Why are you so confident?
Man, that's just the way I work. I don't know how else to do it. I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. I've been saying some crazy shit, and then everyone says, there's no way that's going to happen. Then all of a sudden it happens. And then I say something else crazy, and then I say, there's no way that's going to happen. And then it happens. And then I say, and so this has been the story of my life. I say I'm going to go do something, and everyone thinks I can't do it, and then I go do it. I mean, from the time I said when I was 15,
there's a couple of stumbling blocks here, but can you clear something up for me? How could you take this fight? Aren't you still under contract with one?
You will see the light. I can't reveal all of the pieces to the puzzle yet, Ariel, but you will see it. I promise.
Could you at least, George St-Pierre, Ben Askren, George St-Pierre, a dream match, if you will. Could I ask, how do you beat him? Have you envisioned this? Have you dreamed about this fight? Do you have? Yeah. What is it? What's the ending?
I would say here's what I think happens.
Okay.
Because the one thing I have over him is I have the wrestling advantage, and I don't get tired, and that's usually what he's relied on in the last, say, 10 to 12 fights or so. I think he's very tough to take down early. I think he's very tough, and he's probably gonna you know, he's going to win the striking battle. But one of the things, I never take a lot of damage. I just don't get hit a lot. That's what I'm good at. And over the course of the second and third rounds, I start to wear him down. My takedowns become more effective. And by the third and fourth rounds, I'm starting to dominate my top game. He's used to being on top. He can't get me off of top. If he does get a momentary glimpse of hope, I'm back on him, no problem. And in the fifth round, he mentally breaks and he says, I can't do this anymore. I've never been in this position in my life.
Wow.
And he lets me finish him.
Wow. Strikes? Submission?
Yes, TKO. He just says, I'm done with this shit.
Wow. What a story that would be.